Hello, welcome to Amateur Hour 43. We almost messed that up last night, or when we were making the title here, but welcome everyone, and we're ready to talk some basketball. We're happy this week,
Oh, very happy.
so I'd say I'm going to be real honest with you. I was confident we were going to win last week,
Yeah.
but also I was worried that I was not going to have a fun time doing this stream this week.
Yeah, just as an Iowa State fan,
Mm-hmm.
you know what can happen. So I was confident too, but it wouldn't have surprised me one bit if they lost one of those games.
Now that we've made it this far, what's the worst upset that you've seen in the first round for an Iowa State? Because like for me, I think the worst one was the UAB one. I never saw that one coming.
Hampton.
Okay. See, I wasn't quite into the Iowa State basketball at that point yet, so I don't ever want to claim Campton. I know it's part of the history, but it's like if I didn't personally watch it and get dejected and everything, I can't count that one.
Dude, that was one of those late night games in the NCAA tournament. I remember that, watching that when I was in like what sixth grade.
Mhm.
And man, I remember that. It was terrible.
You know what? Sadly, is a close second is the fucking Aaron Kraft game. That one. It wasn't even like a terrible upset, but it was.
No,
It hurt.
just the way it happened.
Yeah, just the way it happened here, man.
Yep.
So, I got a trivia question, and then I kind of want to embrace debate just a little bit before we kind of get into our Iowa State games here. In your opinion, right now, I don't even know what the numbers are, but there's always like, hey, there's 10,000 perfect brackets left, and there's 1,000 imperfect brackets. Which do you think right now? What this tournament's been a little wonky, but in any tournament, which do you think is more difficult? The perfect bracket where you're putting research in and know your upsets, or the imperfect bracket where you have to know your upsets, but then know the opposite of who isn't going to get like, Sam or you know that North Carolina State was going to win, but then you think Kentucky was going to, and then you don't even have the imperfect bracket. Which do you think is more impressive?
The perfect bracket.
You still think perfect bracket?
Yeah.
I like explain. I guess explain why you think that's more impressive than the imperfect.
Just I don't really even know. I just think that it's harder to pick the winners.
Yeah.
In this
year has been a little chalky, which honestly still makes it a little like the East bracket we're talking about. We have 4 champions, and we were worried about that. And then of all teams that get upset, Auburn is one of them that wins the mighty SEC. And then when you start, it's so funny when you see a Yale game, and that was one of them last week. I didn't pick it because I was a puss, but I was like, this Yale game feels like a trap one. Like Auburn is riding too high. We have too many good things going on in that region with 4 champions, where I didn't think someone would go unscathed. And then of all teams, like a Yale, just the biggest nerds, beat them.
I couldn't pick Yale. Like it took them hitting a buzzer beater in their conference championship game to beat Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just Googled, there are no perfect brackets left.
Oh, there aren't any. Yeah. Are there any imperfect brackets left?
As the 2024 men's NCAA tournament enters the second round there weren't any perfect brackets going into Saturday. There's no way. Oh, maybe there are no more perfect brackets remaining. Yeah, this is 4 days ago. Remaining among the major online platforms. So NCAA, ESPN, CBS, and Yahoo, according to the NCAA. So, yep.
I would have thought there would have been one going into like even the upsets of the second round. Okay, that makes sense. But like, man, not even by Saturday. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
I think I'll be honest. I agree. I was just trying to see if I can get Gian to say it was actually imperfect, but I always think that's the craziest thing. Like at the end of day one, and we know how crazy it was. There's still 1,800 imperfect brackets. It's like how does everyone know that Kansas was going to pull it off versus Samford, but Oakland was going to take Kentucky out in the first round?
Yeah, not me, except Kentucky in the championship game. So,
yeah, that one was again. I don't. This is going to be now that the trends have been Kentucky has lost 4 out of 5 years in the tournament. I'm going to jump on that next year, and Kentucky will make a run for the Elite Eight.
Yeah. Now I'm okay with Kentucky not being in the championship game, me getting that wrong, as long as the other one's correct. I'd be super happy.
Oh yeah, getting those Cyclones in the in the tournament, and I mean, again, we know we got into the second weekend, man, but God, that was such a relief. It was honestly, I enjoyed having our game on Thursday. Usually, it's like, oh my God, because if you lose day one, your whole weekend is kind of fucked. Like, I remember the UAB day. I was watching it at work, half watching, and the half like, oh shit, we're seeing the bet. Like, I wasn't enthused for the rest of the tournament. It took like a couple days to be like, come on, this is March Madness, man. Yeah, you were the 3 seed that's upset and everyone's poking fun at you, but like that's the fun of this whole tournament, man.
It was the first game of the whole tournament.
Oh, that was it was just like you're just like staring at you're like thank God I was at work. It was honestly I was like, all right, I'm just gonna focus on work where I was probably doing a terrible job. You know, I was early in the job and not doing great at that point, but I was just one of those. I at least had something else to focus on and didn't just drink my sorrows away at that point.
Oh, awful.
So, okay, so here's the actual trivia question here.
Okay.
Can you tell me the only Division I school that has a team that made the men's basketball tournament, the women's basketball tournament, and the men's hockey tournament?
Oh, man. It's going to be one of these smaller schools because none of these big schools in the hockey tournament.
Not to send you down the wrong path. It is a bigger school.
Okay. So I just saw the Frozen Four bracket the other day too, and I can't remember who's in it.
Oh, we're already to Frozen Four, or you're just saying?
Well, that's just what they call the whole thing.
Okay. I was like, Jesus, I didn't even hear they had any games going.
No, not yet.
You want a clue?
Sure.
Big Ten.
Michigan State.
You got it, man.
Yeah.
I would say do you follow that Jay Cutta on Twitter? He just finds a lot of patterns and he makes a lot of. I like the visual stuff like this, but yeah, Michigan State's the only one that has on all three. You see Wisconsin in the men's and women's hockey.
Yep.
I think it was Maine. I can't really read it from here. Maine and Michigan.
Yep.
But yeah, and also I just had to throw it out there because obviously Iowa State made the men and women's bracket. Yep. So a nice little like side shot for us as well. So, well, what do you want to tackle first? You want to talk about the women's, and since their tournament's done, or do you want to jump?
Yeah, let's get that done. Let's get that out of the way since their tournament they're done for the year. So
yeah. So yeah, I mean, that was it feels so good knowing that we lost on was that Sunday night? Sunday night. But seeing the 20-point comeback from for a team of mostly freshmen and Emily Ryan, right? To see a 20-point comeback, and then Audie, what was it? Shot 90%,
18 of 20,
40 points.
Yeah, 40 points, 18 of 20 from the field.
Having her huge game in that, which there's some very obscure like stats that you can always find in basketball because there's just so many games played every year. But did you see that the only other person ever in tournament history with shooting 90% and 40 points in a game was Bill Walton? Bill Walton, Audie Crooks, just two peas in one pot in that category. Which, like, man, I didn't realize how much. I would say it's more probably my For You page that feeds into my sports looking up on Twitter. I didn't realize how many people really don't like her game, man.
Yeah.
They obviously, make fun of her size and everything, but they're like, oh, she's just hitting bunnies. She's just doing layups. It's like, yeah, and she's making them. I don't know what you're mad because she gets to the open space and makes the shot.
Yeah, that's her game.
Yeah,
they'd be like, oh, yeah, Caitlin Clark, she just makes too many threes. She should try to lay it up a little more often.
She only hit a logo 3 for the all-time
lame.
record.
So yeah, what is she supposed to do? I mean, if that's what she's good at, and that's what she does, it just makes sense. Like,
hey, Jack Golke, who scored 40 points in the men's tournament prime, or 30 points prime, all on 3-pointers. You only shot 8 2-pointers all year. You know what? You're not a good athlete. You need to shoot more twos. He's gonna go, fuck you. I'm just gonna do what I'm very good at, which is shooting threes. Shocker. You want your guys with the best abilities to do the best thing for your team, shooting threes, and I don't even know if he plays good defense, but enough to beat Kentucky.
Yeah,
so.
You're really good at it, but try something else.
But yeah, I would say that I wasn't able to catch much of the Maryland. I was at a gambling session where it was a blast, man. We had like 24 people all pitching $50, and we all were just gambling all day, evens, odds, and over-unders, and every spread in every single game. And the funniest thing, at the end of the night, Trent, we had a bit of a rut at the beginning of the day because we didn't quite know how it was going to go. At the end of the night, we hit a 5-leg parlay that hit $1,400 because we had the Yale game and we had Grand Canyon. We the one I think I'm going to get addicted to in the tournaments going forward is the race 2 bets, which is just the first team to 5 points, 10, whatever it was. We did the race every 5-point increment up to 30 points for Grand Canyon, which 5 of those hit, 5 of 6. And then I think we hit an even odd, which is just you double your money or zero, right? At the end of the night, we made like $1,800 on one game because it all finally hit last game of the night. And I'm thinking like, I'm going to be fucking rich. I paid $50 in this thing. I'm probably making $200. We had so many people and split it up. It was like, you paid 50. I got 63 back. I was like, I made $13 today. It was a day of emotion, like 12 hours, heartbeats up. We're cheering, booing, everything. $13, like $1.
That sounds like a blast.
Oh, well, and the best part of it too was like, we had some people that were running hot, making good bets, but we forced it where like, or they forced it where like they had a roulette wheel and you just spin it and it just goes, all right, number 24. All right, Trent, you're picking the next bet for everyone. Yeah, exactly. And it was like also to spin, you have to parlay with another game. It's like, God, like. You felt bad when yours didn't hit, but thank God everyone else was doing well. Mine was like, I think it was like San Diego State covering, and they almost shit the bed versus UAB.
That sounds fun.
So, oh yeah, no, it was a blast. It was one of those just needing a day of degeneracy, gambling excessively. Not like, I'll be honest, I'm a bit of a puss where if I gamble, I miss one, I go, I pout, and I just don't gamble the rest of the day. It was like making a sprinter go, no, you're going to marathon this. You better watch your pace because we're going until the last game of the night there.
Yeah.
So. But back to, not my bets and how little I make to actual basketball here. But no, going from Audie Crooks' huge game to a game we knew Stanford was going to play very well. And it didn't shock me we actually played well against them because again, Audie is a presence in the middle. I think her size and her height, no one unless you're her height. Cameron Brink, she's lanky ass arms. I mean, there's only so much you can do with against her length. But I think Audie did very well against her. It was just, we had 2 people go off in that game. You had Emily Ryan for 36, I think. 36. She was just a little spark plug, running all over the court, doing anything to get the team in there. And that Kiki mother, I knew I forgot to get her name. It was Kiki Ioana.
Yeah,
I think. I cannot remember her name for Stanford, but like it was those 2 show. They just go back. Emily made it. Kiki the other way. I mean, I think at one point they had 30 points and Kiki had like 18 of them for Stanford. Yeah. It's those types of games where I think you're starting to see and you're hearing more on ESPN, and the tide's turning where people actually want to watch women's basketball now because, one, I think you also have gambling involved with it, but they're promoting it well, and you have some decent stars that are making a name for themselves.
Yeah, that Cameron Brink was just a little too much for Audie. I think she was like 2 inches taller than her, and those long arms. Like she wasn't straight up. Like she could be like over Audie and be like, yeah, good luck.
I think it's because she was just a little slender, but like she looked like a string. I couldn't. It made her. I think it just made her arms look that much longer, man. Like it was just super wiry. It was like everyone's going, oh, because Anadi has her terrible game. She just couldn't. I appreciate her going 3 for 21 because it shows that she didn't just give up and she went for it. And she had a lot of decent looks, but it's like when you're used to being able to shoot from here, and maybe someone's arm is, you got to move a little bit to like you're shooting out here because you have Brink hanging over you. Like it's gonna be a tough matchup for anyone.
Sure. Yeah, they're thinking this Brink's gonna be the number 2 pick in the WNBA draft.
Yeah, I will say one thing, and I just need to make sure that you're not going to get mad at me.
You're safe here, Brian.
I'm gonna preface it with, I think the refs did a terrible job, but I think that's what kept us in that game.
Yeah.
Because having Cameron Brink foul out the girl that we could not shoot over, and we were getting, I think, and again, it was we saw Monday night's game how refereeing can be. I think for us being the away team in Stanford's court, we were getting a very, very friendly whistle to keep us.
Oh, I 100% agree with that.
Because, like, I'll admit, I had money on the game, and I had it plus 14. I was like, well, probably lose by, 10, 12. Hopefully 10 to 12, keep it somewhat reasonable. And when we were in it that much, and I was just watching, like, you even saw on that everyone get mad at that Brink for getting pissed all the time. I was like, I kind of agree with her. How is she getting all these penalties? Like, a couple of the overback, again, I think it's just she's just so strong, long in a string bean, her length, you could just tell when she was over the back, or I think it's displacement is what it's called. Displacement. Yeah, I'm still learning some of the women's and men's rules, but like, it was so easy to see the displacement where she's just lumbering over and me. Yeah, your arm you're trying to reach into her front pocket there, man.
Yeah. What a game. Then in overtime, there's 36 points scored in overtime.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that many points.
Stanford had 21 and Iowa State had 15, I believe.
You know what? I guess it makes sense, but you know what the crazy thing? I was just watching the back and forth. Was how can there be so many clutch shots back to back? Like we would answer and they would immediately suffocate us with a 3. We would make a 3, get a 2. It was so back and forth. It was just like we cannot just get any. We lost it. There was about 2 minutes left where I think we were 3 points ahead. There was at some point where we had the 7-point lead at half and it was dwindling a little bit, but we kind of kept it even and we missed an opportunity. I think Addie Brown missed a 3 and we had a missed opportunity off of a steal, I believe, or we finally got a Stanford stop and we got the one terrible call was that phantom trap on Emily Ryan. Well, I couldn't believe like she either didn't have possession or she was in the middle of a dribble when she stole it. That
ref had the whistle blown before she had caught that ball. And it wasn't a travel. Like she caught it, immediately started dribbling. So it wasn't a travel anyway.
It's bad when the announcers are like, when they're even questioning it on air because they can't really like openly criticize. But I think that one was bad. The one I heard people getting ticky-tack over, and I can get it, but like Cameron Brink telling the either ref or our team next to the ref, "Fuck you." That should have been
that
a
technical. That is 100%.
Late in the game, that would have potentially been a difference. The Stanford coach, I think in overtime, like after a 3, like sprinted on the court, like immediately. It was like you can't do that. You can't be on the court. I don't know. There's a couple misses like that where you could make the argument we should have won. But there's also a couple points where I think we had a tech or something where we had to shoot for 2 free throws and we missed them late in the game. And it was like we were tied. That's the 2-point difference.
Yeah, and a team that just does not miss free throws, that's killer. Yeah, and both of those could have been technicals, especially the one where Brink. It's like I don't know if it's on Williams or Bloom or 2 guys named Chris, but they're like, if any player says that to any ref, like that is any ref is going to call that. So why it didn't get called there, I don't know. Maybe that's not what she said, but it looked pretty
It
obvious
looked like
that,
it.
and it wasn't sure if like she would like look to her right and said it, and there was a ref there and Iowa State's coaches. So she either said it to that
Yeah,
ref or Bill Fenley, and either one, it
yeah,
should be a technical.
exactly. So that one I didn't get, but I'm not gonna. Again, I've been really trying to get out of the blaming refs
Yeah.
for anything. That's where I want to say it was horrendous overall. Because like I said, I don't think we should have been in, but there definitely was some. It felt like I can't remember who tweeted it, but it felt like they're calling everything, nothing for 5 minutes, everything. Like it was just so inconsistent, rather than just
Yeah.
kind of, we saw in the Big 12 championship game, kind of let them play both
Mhm.
sides. I don't know. It just sucks when you see the refereeing get such a I guess so many eyes on it and people are talking about it. And honestly, I really wasn't planning on talking about, but like we were talking about the Iowa game. I mean, those refs were a joke. Like they were so involved in
Yes.
that game.
They
Did you see
decided
those
that
stats
game.
about the last quarter?
No.
The last quarter, there were 16 points scored by Iowa. 14 of them were at the free
Yeah,
throw line, and only
they
one made
made
field goal, which was an
they
and
made
one.
one field goal the whole fourth quarter.
I mean, I don't. I get that there's an aggressive style defense, but like you, it just looks worse because it's on a home court. The home team got legitimately what was it? 6 times as
Yeah,
many
it's
free throws, and I
30
think
to
it was
5.
20. Yeah, 20 more free or 20 more penalties or
Fouls.
fouls on West Virginia. Like it was comical seeing like here's the people in trouble on West Virginia, and it was a list of 5 girls with 4-4-3-3-3, and I think Iowa had 0. It's like you're telling me that there's this aggressive whistle on one end, and you're just going to
That's
swallow it
just
on the other.
clean defense.
That's some clean
Yeah,
D.
I
But
don't think West Virginia ever got in the bonus. And they played 4 quarters, so they had 4 opportunities, and I don't think they ever got in it.
no, they shot 5 total
And
free
what was
throws.
it? The second quarter that Iowa didn't commit a foul until there was 9 seconds left in the quarter. Come on.
I missed that one. I was out on a walk, but
I
yeah,
think
I think I was getting
I
text
shot
from
that
you
text. I was
guys.
like, 9 seconds left was their first foul.
Yeah, and again, is what it
Yeah.
is. I mean, West Virginia still
Yep.
made it a game. Iowa still advanced like we all
Yep.
thought they were going to, but I I don't think they make it to the Final Four, man. Watching that team, unless Caitlin Clark didn't have her greatest game, which is fine, but I don't think she's got enough a strong enough cast around her. You got that
Mhm.
Stoltzky. Oh my goodness, who's the 3-point shooter? I
Gabby
am
Marshall.
blanking on her name. Thank you. But like, if they're having their average game or even a B game, like I don't know if they're going to survive versus West Virginia was playing very good team
Mhm.
wise. They didn't really have an all-star, but you play a Colorado if they're playing a full team. Iowa lost to Kansas State. They lost to Ohio State, Nebraska. I'm sorry, didn't lose. They almost lost to us. And a lot of those teams are, once you get to that level, you're playing as a full team. They don't just have one star that if you stop them, Caitlin can
Yep.
outshoot her. So I mean, I'm kind of leaning a little heavily that they won't get past Colorado, but either way, I don't see them getting past either LSU or UCLA, even if they win
I
one more
think
game
they're a 7-point favorite over Colorado.
versus
Yep.
Colorado. I mean, it sounds right. I mean, and again, they're going to look at who's the one player in that game,
Yep.
Caitlin Clark. So I don't know, man. And if they pull it off and they do make it to the Final Four, that'll be the most impressive thing. Not making the title game last year over South Carolina. I think it's going to be more impressive with everyone with the target on your
Yeah.
back, and not having the strongest team, because we've watched enough games of theirs to know that like, hey, they're good, but I don't think they were. How do I want to say this? That's play. You know what? Honestly, they're kind of I think they're one of the weaker 1 seeds. Terrible, terrible thing to be the weakest 1 seed, but like if they can get Caitlin rattled,
Yeah.
and she can't get a rhythm, I don't know if Iowa has enough people to pick up the pieces, or God forbid if Caitlin ever got into foul trouble. But this is, I don't want to sound mean, but I don't think she plays hard enough defense where she's going to ever get in foul trouble.
Yeah, and going back to like you said with the team thing, I don't think this year's Iowa women's team is as good as last year's women's team. I
Yes.
honestly don't, and that's why they made it to the Final Four there. And this year, I mean, they might make it, but I think the best team's going to be South Carolina.
Yeah, you're going to run into a fucking wall of South Carolina. It doesn't even matter if you play LSU, UCLA, USC. Inevitable's coming, and it's under Dawn Staley's supervision.
Yeah.
We beat them last year. I think this team is full of vengeance after losing to Iowa last year, and I think they see all the attention Iowa got rather than it's kind of like their old news. Oh yeah, South Carolina's good again. Whatever.
Yeah.
They just see all the attention on that Juju Watkins and Caitlin, and also Caitlin Clark, and also Caitlin Clark. I think they're just going to get pissed that there's one Golden Girl. I don't.
And that's why I think Iowa they have a target on their back here. Like they're going to get everybody's best shot because they want to be the ones to take out Caitlin Clark.
God, that would be so exhilarating. The player that. The LeBron, let's admit, the LeBron of women's basketball. You get to knock her out, and everyone can just shut the fuck up. You've had an amazing year at Colorado. You're a 5 seed, and no one even remotely knows your players because they focused mainly on about 3 schools, I would say.
Yep.
Well, I guess 3 in this area because we don't hardly see any UCLA, USC games unless you're up late at night. And I'm usually watching Pac-12 basketball, men's basketball.
Pac-12 after dark.
But let's be honest. I think even Tennessee and UConn are in our area not as well advertised. I think it's South Carolina, LSU, Iowa.
Oh, 100. I agree with you 100% there.
So, well, and of course, I mean, sorry, on a big national. I was going to say
on a national, yes, yeah. Now for us, Iowa State, because we from Iowa, we pay attention to that. But outside of Iowa State, before this whole 40-point game thing from Audi, people outside Iowa ain't paying attention to Iowa State. So it's those 3. It's Iowa, LSU, and South Carolina.
Yeah. Yep. And this is really random, but I know or at least I know I shit on it early on. Man, ESPN Plus has been so clutch lately. They've gotten a little better, like on the wrestling broadcast, but having that for all Big 12 and Big 12, like some of the lower end football games, but having all the basketball, women's basketball, wrestling matches on there has been so clutch for having, like, I think I have it with like Hulu, and most of the time the announcers aren't terrible. Sometimes it's just I mute it because I can't listen to it, but otherwise it's usually been they've improved their product quite a bit.
No, I have ESPN Plus and I use it all the time. I mean, like, how else are you going to watch South Dakota State? Football. This year, I think, I watched more women's basketball, and because I watched a lot of the Iowa State games. I know I watched more wrestling this year than I've ever watched in my life, and I don't understand it. Like, I never wrestled a day in my life, but it's entertaining, and that's how you catch an Iowa State duel. So
just FaceTime Joey one time, and he'll explain all the moves that are going on. You see the oh god, did you see the splattle?
Oh Jesus,
that happened?
Yeah,
with the Nebraska guy. Could you imagine?
I don't bend that way, dude. Like, literally, I'm not a big guy either, and I can't stand and touch my toes. So I am the least flexible person. Oh my god, my hamstrings would have snapped.
I just like, the worst part is just that not even sure I lose. You lose plenty of matches, but like to lose in that fashion, and you're just everything is out for the war, like for just out there, and you he's holding arms and he's just like, okay, I can't even
Yeah.
fight this. Like, I have all 4 ligaments just stretched out, and you're just like, can you pin me so I can go and cry in the
Yeah,
locker room,
it's
please?
wrestling. It ain't
My
MMA, so
embarrassment.
it's not like he can tap out.
He couldn't even tap. He would have
Yeah.
he would have been tapping with his fingers trying to, ref, please let me close my legs for the love of God.
Yeah, that would not be good for me. I don't bend that way.
That's how you grow a sport, though, Trent. Sex
Yeah,
appeal
well, that was something.
with the spladdle.
Ooh, that was an angle.
Oh Jesus. Well, um, I don't know if there's any more women's news other than Emily Ryan's back.
Yeah.
All 5 freshmen, I hope, are
Yeah.
back, and I hope we can build on it, man, because they looked
Yeah,
incredible.
unless the transfer portal hits them hard and somebody leaves, which I don't see happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be back. They'll be good. They'll be preseason top 20.
Speaking of transfer portal, should we do that just real quick before
Let's
we get
hit
into
it.
the games? Man, we going into the season, we knew that, hey, TJ's a very good recruiter, and his coaching has caught up to it this year. We've seen a lot more clutch situations by him. How do you feel about the center coming from
Sean
Charlotte?
Jackson, 6'11", 75% free throw, which, whoa, that's huge for Iowa State. And the dude is athletic, like 6'11" and can move like that. Holy, yeah, he's gonna start next year, I would think.
It feels good knowing that, like, and I know some of it was lesser competition. He had a couple big moments in that Duke game that they threw out there, man. I mean, just having more of an offensive threat in the middle is going to be so nice for next year. And we're also going to, like, I'm not expecting that it's going to immediately plug and play and everything works, because we also got to deal with the guys that are going to transfer out naturally that didn't get to play a lot this year. But just having such a winning weekend, I think that was right after the women's loss, which kind of sucked. And then immediately we see right before our Sweet 16 game versus Illinois, we get that big of a commitment. And I know we signed another guy out of Wisconsin, not for next year's class. I believe it's for 2025. I mean, are the Cyclones ever going to lose again? I mean, it fucking doesn't feel like it, man.
I mean, after we had that, I texted the group and said Iowa State 2024 and 2025 national champions in basketball. So look out.
You know what I'm sad about is I'm not ever going to get a plus 15,000 odds for us to win the Natty ever again, just because we're going to be stacked next year.
Can he play tomorrow?
Yeah, his season's over with. We're still playing. Yeah. Get him in here. Get a jersey. Number do we have a number 55? No. I don't think so. Just throw a number 55 on it or something. 00.
That'd be sweet. You don't have a number.
But
0.
But who we have? Taman. Hopefully Milan stays. I think he should. I don't know. I don't think do you think he's good enough to go just yet to the NBA?
Not yet.
I didn't think so, but I didn't want to speak out of turn.
So my thing with Milan was before the Big 12 tournament, back when he was not playing good, that was in the back of my mind. I'm like, God, I could see him transferring. But now, yes.
Milan?
But now he had a huge Big 12 tournament, just went nuts in that championship game. He's had 2 really good games to start this tournament. I think he's back having fun again with this team. I think he stays. But yeah, there was just this little part of me that's just like, damn, I really hope he doesn't transfer, but I could see it happening.
Slumping at the end of the year. I'm looking at our scholarship situation for next year. So we'll have Keyshawn Gilbert Sr., Curtis Jones Sr., Taman Jr., Lipsy, obviously, Demarion Watson Jr., Pav Jr., this Deshaun Jackson Jr., Milan sophomore, Omaha sophomore, Jelani Hamilton sophomore, Caden Fish sophomore, JT Rock freshman after his red shirt, year, and then we got that Nogus and Dwayne Pierce that are going to be incoming
Mhm.
freshmen. I know we're not going to have all of them. Obviously, I mean, I think realistically, Omaha
You
leaves.
think so?
From what I've heard, and this is through scouting, scouting the local talent I have here at Ames, and just word of mouth. It just, for a 5-star, he's upset with the amount of time he's played, and understandable. I know TJ also plays a very different style of,
Mhm.
basketball compared to a lot of people, where he really emphasizes defense compared to, Omaha might be looking at a Kentucky where I don't know how much he might have kept up with any of the other All Americans that he played with or the under 18 team, but I guarantee he's watching those guys' stats, and they might even be averaging single digits, or maybe they're only getting 15 minutes a night, but he's going, I'm getting 3 minutes a night. What the fuck am I doing here? I think he's gone. I hope not.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think he played very well when he was in. Um, the other rumors that I've heard, I think Pav is for sure gone. I think that one's more of a certainty. And then I've heard a little about Watson, but I'm not 100% on that yet.
Demarion Watson. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, you know, I think he should look at, hey, I have, Rob Jones in front of me and Trey King. They're both gone
Yeah.
next year, right? Yeah, they're both. I would say he should be looking at, like, hey, I'm going to be the guy in the middle next year. I would think that would be where his head is at, but I don't know, man. Again, the way that TJ demolished the transfer portal last year with getting the exact right pieces to fit into our offense and
Yep.
defense, and it kind of, I'll be honest, we've said it even in football. Sometimes you trim the fat too. You get rid of a guy that wasn't ever going to get to the elite level you needed. He can go somewhere and play maybe a different style where he can be elite and get his time, minutes, and maybe closer to home. And we can bring in maybe better suited talent. Like I mean, again, 6'11" and offensively talented. Wow, that can fit in any style of fucking offense. Like, he can play Purdue. He can play
Yeah.
anywhere. But I mean, it doesn't really worry me, even though it's like, it kind of sucks seeing your top ranked prospect ever leave
Yep.
potentially. But I'm not as worried anymore. The transfer portal's kind of been working in Iowa State's favor in basketball, anyways.
Yeah, out of all those guys, I would like to see, and he's only going to be a freshman next year, but that JT Rock, like, he's
Yeah.
like 7'1".
Yeah.
He needs to gain about 60 pounds. But
Well, JT, if you need some help on how to gain 60 pounds, I will help you out, my friend. There's a nice little place off of Highway 30 here called Mongolian Buffet. You just get a couple plates over there, my friend, and you do that a couple times a week, every week, and I think it'd be
yeah,
just
I hope
fine.
he, you know, gets that body and builds that. And man, having that would be huge. But like I said, he's only a freshman next year, so I think he's got a few more years. But yeah, he was a
Mhm.
Sioux Falls kid and kind of dominated everybody up here.
Can you remember the days where, like, first off, remember the year DeAndre Kane was here and he was one of the biggest guys on the floor as his
Yeah.
guard? It's like 6'4", and then I think it was Jamil wasn't he like 6'8",
Jameel McKay,
6'10"?
yeah, he was
I
like
think it's 6
6'10" with like a 7'6" wingspan.
6'10", and then it was just like no size
Yeah.
behind him. It was like George was the
Yeah.
next largest man. I like it is just, I'm almost giddy thinking that, hey, our starter presumably will be oh my god, I'm blanking on his name and I'm even staring at it in front of me here. Who's the guy we just
Deshaun
picked up
Jackson.
transfer portal? Thank you, Jackson. We got Jackson, who's gonna be 6'11". Oh, his backup's coming in for some rest. He's 7'1". Like, that feels good knowing that we just have that extreme
Start
size
both of
to.
them.
We're gonna be the new Purdue,
Yeah.
damn it. So no, I would say that one feels good, and honestly, like I said, I'm pumped to see what other moves we potentially have, or maybe we just keep everyone and we run this thing back here.
Okay, let's do it. I like that.
Let's do it. So well, let's get into the
Yep.
games here, man. I know it sucks not being a Jackrabbit fan, but
One
for a
game.
game,
Now
but
we're back to football. It's football season now.
yeah, now I'm back to national champs,
Back to
baby.
back to back is what's going to happen.
They played us a little too close in the first half. I didn't like how well they were
Yeah.
playing us, and they were answering
Yep.
well. And it's one of these. How many games are we in? 32, 33 games into the season,
Yeah, something like that.
and I still have to remind myself that we come back in the second half a lot of the time. It's fine to be down.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't get over that we're streaky, and when the streak doesn't hit in the first half, at some point, you know what's going to happen in the second half. And I hate the 20 minutes you're just sitting here, twiddling your thumbs. You're on Twitter getting mad with everyone else. It was a good
So
game,
I
though.
had this thought the other day too. It's like we played both these games are both close at halftime. And then I'm just thinking like this is kind of like football. Like how many times did we text each other at halftime during football this year? Like, you know what? Heacock's seen it for a half. They're going to put the clamps down in the second half. Defense is going to come back.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in basketball now. It's like, okay, TJ has seen you for 25, 30 minutes of game time. He's got your weakness figured out, and here they go.
Yeah. It was always nice in football season because Heacock's going to lock it in, and you're like, and I hope the offense learns not to run it on first down, but they never did for 13 games last year. Yeah, and this, and we also it was also like because we knew we could put the clamps down even last year, but it's like, is the offense going to produce anything? We had the 41-point game versus Pitt, which the more I'm thinking about it now, it still pisses me off. Everyone goes, look at how fucking god awful Virginia is. They scored 42 points in a whole game. I'm like, you didn't even watch last year's Iowa State Pitt game because that was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, and it was worse than that one.
That was terrible.
I remember missing half the game. I wouldn't say we're super fans, Trent, but we rarely miss a game, or we try and watch a replay. I was so happy to be traveling. It was like St. Patty's, so it was taking forever to get to my gambling thing. I was so happy to just be in the car, just listening to Heacock and being able to yell at the top of my lungs, what the F are we doing? And just like, it was good because like, that was one of the worst games I've ever seen.
I watched all of it and it was not pretty.
So, you mentioned how both games were close. Going to the Washington State game, does that concern you that length caused so many problems for as long as it did?
No. I mean, because the length, I mean, that ain't going to go away. Mm-hmm. Like they're playing against that length all 40 minutes. Now they got up real quick, 7-0. And then I think they got a lob and that kind of got Iowa State going. And I'm just like, God, just anyway, just score anyway. Mm-hmm. And that got it going. But again, that was one of those games that TJ was like, okay, I've seen 30 minutes of gameplay. I know how we're going to win this game now. And they executed it perfectly. Now, some people are saying that they were more worried about that Washington State game than the Illinois game because of that length. In Illinois, I mean, whatever, like, they're the hottest team in the nation in the last 10 games. Like, yeah, well, they played the Big Ten and then they played Duquesne. Ooh. And then they, it's like, yeah, whatever. They played.
Who's their last game?
Duquesne. They played Morehead State before that. It's like, yeah, well, they haven't been tested yet in the tournament.
I'm looking at their size right now because they primarily, it looks like they run like a one or two guard and then 3 to 4 forwards. I mean, that Terrence Shannon is 6'6". Every forward obviously is 6'6" and above. So I think playing Washington State was the best case scenario we could have had. It would have been kind of nice going against that DeVries to play someone 6'7" that's going to be able to shoot very well. That's the closest thing we were going to have to Shannon that we're going against. But I think playing that Washington State team with the length that they have, obviously, is going to help us going into this game and at least combating their size or having a tune-up game, if anything. So, and I think what else is going to help us in the Illinois game, I mean, do you happen to know, this is very random throwing it out there, the most points Iowa State has scored against us in a game this year? It can't be more than 25, isn't it?
What? Oh, by an opposing player?
Yeah, by any individual.
I don't.
I mean, I know Jamal Sheed had that that he went
The
off
dude
in that
for
game
Houston.
in the
Yeah,
Houston at
he
home.
had
I know that was a
20
big
something,
one.
but yeah, like you said, probably 25 is probably the most.
Mhm. It makes me feel a little bit better knowing that, like, yeah, Shannon is going to be an elite scorer. We really haven't we usually don't allow someone to score that many points with as stout of a defense as we
Mhm.
have. But if we can interrupt him at all, him and oh my goodness, I tried to have these names ready off the top of my head. I'll once I see it, Damask. I know he was very good for them. I think he was the one that had the triple double in the first round versus
Yep.
Morehead State. Um, I think if we can shut Shannon down or disrupt him enough, I don't know if they're going to have enough from everyone else that's going to be able to make up for it. Same thing that we're talking. If you frustrate Caitlin Clark, are they going to have enough pieces around him that can
Yep.
score? Because I remember watching Illinois win the Big Ten championship. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, you have a guy go off for 40 points, and no one's stopping him on defense, but I believe in based on KenPom rankings, the only times they've played a top 20-25 defense 6 times this year, Illinois has, and they're 1-5. So I can tell you, TJ's looking at that film. Who do we need to shut down, and how do we need to play this game? And I can almost bet they're going to slow it down because we know we can score on our possessions, and it's going to frustrate the hell out of both of us. We're going to be texting at halftime, "What the fuck are we doing? It was a nice season." And then they're just going to slowly. I mean, we saw in the BYU game, down 19, we can crawl
Mhm.
back. We have the ability to get back into games this year, and I feel like that we're gonna kind of have to do the West Virginia, cause a lot of disruption, slow this offense down, don't let them get into a rhythm, and also we're gonna need our A game, but we can't have Rob Jones playing like he did or Trey King. They've kind of been a little off this
Yeah.
tournament.
Yeah, Rob has been a little quiet this tournament. He had a couple big games in the Big 12 tournament and this
Yeah.
tournament. Yeah, a little off.
Also, these oh, go
No,
ahead. I'm
nope, I'm
sorry.
done.
These backdoor passes and these wide open threes, teams know how to gut us. We're gonna get killed if we do not, if when we double and they find the open man, or we keep allowing these open passes in the middle for these easy layups. If we don't get that stop, man, and again, where we're gonna need Rob Jones and Trey King to pick up, we ain't playing more in one game in Boston.
Hmm.
That's for sure.
Yep. So I am looking back here at Illinois' past, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So like their last 10 games, they're 9-1. They've played Morehead State, Duquesne,
Duquesne,
Wisconsin,
Nebraska,
Nebraska, Ohio State, Iowa. Their loss was to Purdue, Wisconsin again,
fair.
Minnesota, and Iowa. And like they're giving up, they probably average giving up 80 something points a game in those. They're just scoring 95. Um, Iowa State ain't going to give up 95.
No. And if we do, I will poop my pants live on air. I don't
All
know.
right.
We'll I'll figure out a
Look for that
punishment,
next
but
week on Amateur Hour.
oh no, I hope not. Um, I mean, the other thing that we struggled with in Washington State game, and I hope we can pick up on, we did not have a lot of steals that led to fast break
Yeah, a
points,
lot of.
man. That was usually a staple. I'm used to
Mhm.
seeing about 3 to 4 of those game. Spoiled, we
Yeah.
are, but it was just like, man, they made us earn it, and I think we can get away. We should be able to get some of these in the
Yeah,
Illinois game.
turn them over. Uh, and hopefully the officiating, lets Iowa State play that kind of defense.
They've let us play so
Hmm.
far. There haven't been many issues, but now it's a Sweet 16. Now it's going to be probably different crews, and they're going to be looking a little bit more at making sure the game's played right, if you will. How we said it before the tournament though. If they ever did that in any game, we might have been fucked versus South Dakota
Yeah.
State, man.
Yep.
So so let's preemptively say it's all on the refs. It's not on Iowa State at
Yeah.
all.
It's obvious.
Classic Cyclone behavior,
We're
blaming
gonna
the
boo
refs.
everything.
You know what? Also, here's the other thing. I was watching the Iowa game, and they were booing the shit out of every eighth foul because that was the only time they ever called it on them. but they were booing the shit out of it. It's like, see, we're not the only ones. I think we have extra microphones in Hilton Coliseum. I think I think the way that the boards in the top are angled, it brings our boos into ESPN's microphones, and everyone complains about it. It's like, I've just never gotten that argument. Can you believe that the home team booed when a foul went against them? 14,000 of the 15,000 people here are cheering one way, and then it didn't go their way, and they were mad about, who would have... Crazy.
I'm sure you've noticed this, but like in some of these games, there is somebody right next to a microphone, and you can hear them, like this one person cheering. And there was one the other night. I'm like,
who wasn't? What game was
that? I can't remember what it was, but I told Katrina, I was like, they need to move that person away from the microphone.
I tweeted about it, like, and it didn't bang. It didn't get hardly any likes. But it was a Grand Canyon.
Was it that
there
game?
We go. It was that Grand Canyon Bama game, because you're like, I want Grand Canyon to win. Fuck Alabama, right? And every 2-point basket, it wasn't a huge play. It was just like layup, and there's a woman shrieking at the top of her lungs. I was just like, I don't want you to win anymore, lady. And I'm not going to mute my television, so I'm going to lose every time you score a point. But I'm going to actively root. It will not change this game at all. But I'm actively rooting against you now, lady. You got karma against you.
Yeah, it must.
Yeah, that I remember that. It's so funny you say that, and I knew immediately the game. I just couldn't picture it off the fucking Lopes.
They need to lose.
Did you see everyone mad about? Did you know Grand Canyon's a for-profit school?
No, I know it's really, really expensive.
Yeah, it's like they make money for all schools make money. First off, here's the other thing: all schools make money. If you want to talk about money that schools have made, why don't you look at Yale's and Harvard's endowments? I know it's completely different money, but they got money. But I couldn't get people were furious on I'm not cheering for Grand Canyon because they're for-profit. I'm like, they charge money. Isn't that every college? Aren't they all kind of for profit? If it was for good education, it would be free 99.
And another thing, how does that affect you?
Yeah. Grand Canyon is good, and they've won one tournament game in their history. By the way, they've made the tournament a few times. Everyone, it's like Quinnipiac. It's like these schools, Wichita State, before they became more well known. What's another March Madness school name that you go oh yeah, they're in the Iona. That's another one I always think of. Yep, classic. It's a classic. That's a 14 seed. That's how I know that Wagner. I don't know anything about it. Yeah, they're a 16 seed. Thank you, Bucknell. That's another great one. Next week we should just have a segment just called March Madness teams, and we don't even have to have a list. We just off the top of our head start thinking of them again. But yeah, I mean, Grand Canyon's only won one game in their history, and people are like, they should never have any success. It's like, you don't want to hear what the SEC does. The pre-NIL, the pre-transfer. If you'd hate a school for making some money, you're going to hate what some of these other schools did.
The people bitching were probably Bama fans when they were playing them. It's like,
Well, true. I should have seen if it said "Go Tide" or "I love my cousin" on their shirt or something.
Yeah, who cares? They're a for-profit school. Ooh.
Oh, I better turn this thing off. I better get my Bible out. Click.
It's not they're the only school accepting money from their students in this tournament. No, I'm pretty sure every one of those schools, every student that goes, 95% of those students that go there probably leaving with some student loan debt.
You know what? When I turned over that check for thousands to Iowa State every year, they didn't go, you know what, son?
Yeah.
This one's on the house. Your education is more important than our revenue.
Just happy.
They didn't do that once.
We're just happy you're here learning.
Hey, education is the future, and you're the future, and you save that money. No, I just got done paying my student loans at 33. Somewhere, someone was making revenue off that. So I don't know. Grand Canyon didn't seem too bad. If someone can present me more evidence, I'll look into it because I did zero other than 3 tweets I saw. But
somebody's going to have to do some more convincing for me to hate them for that.
By the way, that's classic 2024 arguing now. You do the research for me and tell me, and then even if I read it, I'm not going to change my mind. Good thing there's not an election or anything this year.
Kidding.
Golly, you just get ready for that trend. Show me in this book in the amendment that now, just
no, but literally, it says it right here. Yep, no, don't believe it.
No, I can't see it. No, lift the sheet of paper up. No, I can't see it.
No, I can't see you. I can't see you. God.
Oh, just terrible. Thank God, if anything, I get irrationally mad over. I feel happy. It's more often, but in smaller doses of just men's basketball. When we lose, I'm just upset for a one night, and it's whatever. Imagine you were wired differently, and your love and hate and how your day was going to go was based on how politics go for the day.
Yeah, and then you're
Congress shut down Trent, and you're just making sure everyone knows that you're livid about it.
Like if the wrong person gets elected here in November, then a certain group of people is just going to be mad for 4 years straight.
Yeah, I've slowly come to realize half the people are always going to be mad about everything. So
yeah, exactly.
I do want to give a shout. I finally got it pulled up on my phone for the tournament. Our two leaders right now are Wheezy F. Pagey by Miss Gasecki. I said that wrong. Sorry. And then Corey Yeager, who has the bracket name Suck It Bracket Picking. He's in first place.
He really sucks at it. Didn't he win it last year?
Yeah.
Or was that Steven?
Okay. I think it was Steven last year that won. I want to give a shout out also to Spencer. He's in the chat a lot of the time. Did you happen to see his team name in the tourney bracket here? Heavies of the Natural Variety. He loves our Dune episode and our Twilight episode. He got a kick out of those. So
the art, the album art with the Pulse of the Heartland logo, swinging the golf club.
Sydney Sweeney Natural Heavies. Okay. Yeah. I love those. So shout out to those.
Have you taken a look at on the app for the ESPN tournament challenge? There is a group forecast. So so the thing I noticed was Brittany Brubaker is forecast. Yep. She has the highest % chance to win our bracket challenge, but she is currently in last place, which amazed me.
She's got Corey's in first, and he can get a max score of 1620, but she's in 19th place, and she can get a max score of 15. And that's like a pick of 3 teams wrong in the first round, different than Corey. That's crazy. Yeah, she's got the highest projection to
she's in last and has the highest projection to win.
Big 12 showdown. All 4 of her teams are still for the final 4.
And then it says what would be the best scenario for the winner for you to win. Like mine would be not even Iowa State winning, who I picked. Mine is Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah, really? It seemed weird to me. Like, I think it would just benefit me more if Iowa State won.
I bet you all the Iowa State. Yeah, I was going to say, I bet you all the Iowa State people were at the last because, we're not projected to be. We're favorites to Illinois, right? 2.5 points. We're favorites versus Illinois. We're going to be heavy underdogs. UConn.
What do you mean? We're going to play San Diego. We're not. Gonna,
San Diego.
We're not
State
playing UConn. Not according to this bracket right here.
I might go run a mile if San Diego State pulls off the upset versus UConn. I'll run a mile before our game because, I'll be so excited. My adrenaline will be pumping. We wouldn't. You're not going to get mad at me if I say something?
Dust those running shoes off, Bryant.
What will happen? Trent. There's going to be 2 possibilities. It's going to be UConn versus Iowa State, or it's going to be San Diego State versus Illinois, because there's no way that we wouldn't choke the fucking game if we had the best opportunity the next round. I'm just telling you that right now, because legitimately, I don't think there's any chance San Diego State wins. Yeah. So I'm okay with saying that, because I know we're going to take care of business
too. There's just some way that you just know we're going to get kicked in the nuts.
But that's destiny as an Iowa
I
State
know.
fan, man. We were the top seed in the men's in football versus Oklahoma. We'd already beaten them once that year, and then destiny just says, "Oh, we're just gonna get a kid kicked out in the first minute who's your all-star safety. Oh, and we're also your best quarterback of all time is gonna make a horrendous mistake." Purdy did that,
Yeah.
but I mean, like that was. I don't know, man. I think it's going to be one of those two possibilities because I don't see an Iowa State, San Diego State Elite Eight.
Well, you're wrong.
Hey, why do you think this is called amateur hour? This isn't professional. I get things right hour.
That's why they play the games, Bryant.
So, what's your prediction final score tomorrow?
Iowa State 80. Illinois.
Okay.
Well, Illinois gives up 90 points a game.
I know. I'm not used to seeing us score 80. That's where I'm a little shocked. Who are we playing? Grambling State?
Yeah, no, worse. Illinois. Illinois 70. We win by 10. Keep that double-digit streak rolling.
Yeah, I can see us up by like 4, and then they have to start fouling, and then we hit clutch free throws. Yeah, that's.
They call him that 7'11" or 6'11" new guy to shoot some free throws and make some.
Who is the player you think that hits the clutch 3-pointer to put the game away? You think it's Curtis Jones? Or you think it's a Jones? If he ever shot a 3-pointer, I don't care if he would make. I would be yelling at my TV so much. What the fuck are you doing, Bob Jones?
If he shot a 3-pointer, I'm not so sure it would land in the gym.
Short or far?
I don't know. Yeah, he's airballed some free throws short. Milan, I would love to that's his MO. That's his thing. I would love to see Milan just dagger.
Yeah, we're gonna need a big game from him again because he's had some okay games in the first couple rounds, and we've also had some very close tie-ups in the middle of that. If he can get the 15, 20 points like he was getting the Big 12 tournament, I think we just slide by Illinois with ease. And if he can do that versus UConn, we have a fighting chance.
If you tell me right now that he's going to get 20 points tomorrow, I'm not sweating the game. If he gets 20, they're winning.
I might bet my hypothetical house on it then, on Iowa State winning by.
Yeah, if you knew he was having 20, I would say they're going to win 99% of the time in this game.
Yep. So, no, I like it. I can see us scoring a lot of points, and I think we're going to give up an uncharacteristic amount of points, and it's going to fuck with our feelings in that game because we're not used to – we're okay with winning 60-50 or 65-58. Once we get to 70 points, we're going to feel like we're on cloud 9, but Illinois is going to be right behind us at 66.
Yeah, I just think Illinois, they gave up a lot of points, and I think Iowa State can put up 80 on them, so –
can't believe we're going to score 80 to 85 points and win tomorrow.
Speak it into existence, Bryant.
So, you got anything else, man? Otherwise, let's wrap it up. We get an hour, man. So, all right. Well, I appreciate everyone joining us live here tonight. Thank you all the bots for joining us again. We appreciate
tell your friends
or thems. I don't want to assume. Goodness. Appreciate everyone joining us here, and we'll catch you next week when we're previewing the Iowa State Final Four match.
Man, that sounds nice.
Yes, it does.